Hello everybody and welcome back to another brand new video where today we are approaching the end of Series 1 as I conclude my look backs over each episode of Series 1, 15 years to the day since it aired. Today we're looking at the first part of the finale to Series 1. It's time to look at Bad Wolf. So yes, as I say, the end of the series we get very near to. Next week I'll be concluding this series of videos with the Passing of the Ways. It's certainly been really fun to have another look back over Series 1 once again. It's a series I have a lot of nostalgia for, of course, because it's the series I watched when my first series I ever watched Doctor Who when I was first getting into the programme 15 years ago, which is just crazy that I've been a fan of Doctor Who for 15 years already. It's mad. But yeah, so today we are looking at Bad Wolf, as I say, the first part of the finale. It's an episode that I think is generally pretty highly rated by fans. Certainly, I just watched it and I was loving it all the way through. I think this Series 1 finale is one of, if not my favourite finale to a series of Doctor Who. It's right up there. And in particular, this part 1 is just so good. So of course, this story kind of starts with the bonkers, completely Russell T Davies idea of having the Doctor, Rose and Captain Jack thrown into a load of game shows, getting the Celebrity Big Brother, The Weakest Link, and then a sort of, I can't remember what the makeover show's called, but something like that. So yeah, I don't know exactly which one that is, but certainly Celebrity Big Brother and The Weakest Link are two classic British TV sort of game shows, basically. I mean, The Weakest Link isn't running anymore, but I'm pretty sure Big Brother still goes on. And I can understand why people at the time criticised, saying it'll be very sort of its time, but will age really badly because it's got those game shows in it. And I'm like, I don't really mind. Maybe it's because I've got nostalgia for it, but it's so cool and just so kind of bizarre and crazy. And I can just imagine the first time people watching this, when the first minute of the episode happens and suddenly the Doctor's in the Big Brother house and you've got the Big Brother theme music playing in the background and you're just like, sorry, have I actually tuned into Doctor Who or am I watching the Big Brother now? I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. And then having such an authentic version of The Weakest Link as well with the Anne droid, which is just a brilliant idea. I love that idea. It's again so RTD. This finale just feels so RTD. But to have such an authentic version of The Weakest Link with the actual real graphics on screen, it's very similar sort of board name boards in front of them and stuff. It's so well realised. The same with the Big Brother house as well. I just think it works so effectively and really gives such a intriguing, confusing, mysterious setting to what's going on, but in just such a unique way, unlike anything we've really seen before or since in Doctor Who. I mean, it's one of these fascinating sort of worlds collide type Doctor Who episode, which happens exceptionally rarely, where you've almost got other sort of popular culture kind of clashing into Doctor Who. Really, the only obvious time is Dimensions is time, when Doctor Who crosses over with EastEnders in a non-canon Christian Children in Need special. But apart from that, there's really, I can barely think of occasions where like the Doctor and co have got mixed up in another type of TV programme. It just isn't a thing that happens. I mean, my one kind of idea I think would be fascinating to explore in some sort of Doctor Who episode, it would probably have to be extended media, but would be what if for some reason the Doctor ends up realising that he's in a TV show called Doctor Who, and that Doctor Who is actually like a TV show that he's a part of, rather than it being the real universe. I think that could be a really cool idea for an episode to explore at some point, but it probably won't happen. But yeah, it just, having these game shows in gives a real unique vibe and extra element, I think, to this story that really just sets up, as I say, the mystery behind it, because you're so completely confused why the Doctor, Rose and Captain Jack are in 3 different random futuristic game shows from the 21st century, but in the future. It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, part of me's not loving the fact that they had a little recap from the long game at the beginning of this story, which basically tells you that this story is connected to that one and therefore connected to Satellite 5 and everything. I feel like it would have been better if we just started straight off with the game show, and then at some point, once like it's revealed that it's Satellite 5, have a quick little flashback scene to some stuff that happened in the long game to kind of catch people up on exactly what was going on. Clearly it's very important information and you need to be reminded of it, but I feel like it just could have added a little bit more if it had been only shown once that's been revealed, rather than showing it before, because it gives you a strong implication that, okay, this is definitely connected to that story and therefore probably to Satellite 5, and you can kind of put the piece together yourself a little bit earlier than maybe you would have done otherwise, which I think is a little bit of a shame, but hardly a major thing. I also think it's a really cool idea and a really effective idea in this story of having these disintegrator beams that seemingly these sort of deadly ends to all of these game shows where you're most likely going to get disintegrated and supposedly killed. And I think it's done really effectively in making you genuinely believe that people are dying when they're disintegrated. Like, everybody's talking about how that's what happened. You see literal dust on the ground as if to say that's what the person was before they've been disintegrated. For me, it feels quite convincing that that's actually what's happening to them. And then so to then have the dramatic moment of seeing Rose being disintegrated, it just is such an effective scene, because you do genuinely in that moment, I think, have an element of belief that, oh my days, Rose is actually dead, that's actually just happened. And just seeing the Doctor's pure kind of internal rage response to that, and then one of my favourite moments actually is when they attack all the security guards when they're trying to escape their little sort of prison cell, and then storming into the lift and up to floor 500. It's just such an effective, with the music, the real sort of low angle shots being used to show the real threat of the main characters, and the pure anger on the Doctor's face as he's desperate to get up there and find out who the controller is and just find out a way he can get Rose back and be angry at them and destroy them and everything. It's such, I think, shows the pure rage of the Ninth Doctor when he realises that he might have lost his best friend, and just kind of going off the rails a little bit in trying to find out what's happened and get her back somehow, I think is really, really well done and really well performed by Chris in this story. And so yes, I just feel like it's then a really satisfying sort of explanation when suddenly Captain Jack does his little demonstration with Linda, showing that actually it's not a disintegrator beam, it's just another transmat beam, and then cuts the shot of Rose in the Dalek ship, and it just works and flows so effectively, I think, from that point of view. It's really cleverly just gradually revealing things and explaining things in a way where you genuinely is a bit of a shock and a surprise as things happen, I think. I think of the three game shows, clearly the most kind of over the top, and maybe the one that works the least well is Captain Jack's sort of makeover show one that he's on. I'm afraid I really should know what it's called, but I can't remember. And it still works okay, but it clearly is so completely designed for John Barrowman's character of Captain Jack to fit into. Like, it's just completely his territory, and having a shot where he basically gets naked for the cameras is interesting. Apparently they were originally going to use a shot where they did show his whole, at least from behind, all of him, but BBC editorial policy or whatever overrode that decision and were forced them to remove that shot from it because it was originally shot that way, and thought that seeing actual butt cheeks would be a little bit much for viewers on Saturday tea time Doctor Who viewing, so they removed that aspect from it. But it's still pretty, I guess, racy, on the edge kind of stuff for Doctor Who be doing, and certainly not the sort of thing you'd ever seen in the show before this point. And Captain Jack's seminal moment when he pulls a gun out from somewhere, wonder where it could be, is quite a moment, I think. And so yeah, it clearly is the most over the top sort of camp of the three, I think it's fair to say, and probably works the least well. As I say, it's not a disaster, but it's probably the one that I'm least interested in through sort of different elements of story. It's very much almost the more comedic one, I think, whereas the other two are being played quite seriously. It's the sort of occasional light relief with Captain Jack and his robots until he gets to escape. So yeah, just the least effective, but still not bad by any means. Now, of course, this story is ultimately all about building up to the big return of the Daleks. The one thing I think is a bit of a shame, I can't remember if I mentioned it last week, is that the next time trailer at the end of Boomtown does feature a Dalek in. And I listened to some of the commentary between, I think it was Phil Collinson was in there among other people, and they said they debated and discussed for a long time exactly whether it was the right decision to put it in that trailer or not, and eventually they decided that it was. I personally don't think it was. I think given the way this story is built up, in much the same way that Well Enough in Time is built up, is purely around the reveal and about this mystery that's not being revealed yet. It's being very hard, so they're very much trying to not give away who the real villain is until very, very late in the story. And so I feel like it just completely undermines the whole mystery element of trying to work out who it's going to be by revealing it in the trailer for the next episode. Like, in some stories it works fine if the story was named Return of the Daleks, or if the story had a Dalek within 4 minutes of the story. Sure, chuck him in the next time trailer from the previous episode, but not when they're only being revealed at 42 minutes of a 45-minute episode, when the title gives nothing away, when nothing in the story until the very end gives anything away. Why would you just feel free and easily give it away? I think their justification was, oh, it had already leaked, it was in the Radio Times or whatever and stuff like that. And I'm like, yes, but I would have preferred it if they tried to keep it a secret, because it's such an effective reveal, build up and reveal in the actual story. Of course, knowing in retrospect, you can see the round Dalek bump type things on paintings and sort of pictures in the background of the Big Brother set, which is just a cool little hint at it. I'm not sure if there's any others particularly around there, but that's certainly the most noticeable one. And then there's just this gradual reveal when you've got the controller talking to the Doctor, saying, "My masters, they fear the Doctor. Who are your masters? We don't know." And then Rose turning up, of course, in there. And although it's pretty obvious by that point, they still don't go full on and show a load of Daleks. You just see it from the Daleks' perspective. Of course, proper fans know they can hear the Dalek control room theme sort of sound in the background, that sort of pulsating beat that everybody recognises and is just very noticeable. And so that was always going to be a giveaway, I guess, for big fans. But it's still, there's a slight subtlety to it. And then only seeing the controller being exterminated, but not seeing the Dalek itself, just thinking a reflection on some material. But then the big shot of all the Dalek spaceships, and then into the Dalek ship, and seeing loads of Daleks for the first time in New Who is so cool. Like, I think this shot, the ending of this story, has got to be the most Daleks you'd ever seen in one shot up until this point. Certainly the best realised version of that, because obviously Classic Who never had the budget really to do anything like that well. I know there are scenes in stories like Planet of the Daleks where you see lots of Daleks, but that is also tiny little models all on screen that don't look that convincing compared to the CGI that looks... It's not amazing because, of course, it's 15 years old now, but it's pretty damn good compared to Classic Who and just creates such an exciting cliffhanger, I think. So yes, I think this story is fundamentally a great sort of first part to a finale. It really has the unique aspects of introducing game shows into the story and exploring that element and giving a real mystery to what's going to happen, and then an excellent reveal scene at the end of the story as to who the real villains are, who have been playing, sort of pulling the strings from behind the scenes all along. The Doctor's great sort of speech to end off with, that he's going to come and get Rose, he's going to defeat all the Daleks and they're going to be absolutely terrified by that. And it's just such a great kind of triumphant, determined moment from the Ninth Doctor, our real I'm going to come and save the day moment that we don't see that much with him really, I think. So it's so effective and so brilliant way to end the story on. But yes, overall, Bad Wolf is a cracking first part to this two-part finale, and certainly one of my favourite stories, I think I would say. It's certainly right up there. As a whole story, but even just this part one, I've always really enjoyed the nostalgia of the big game shows and things. Just as a whole story, there's a lot of nostalgia around it, there's no denying, but it's one that I personally love. But guys, please do let me know in the comments below what you think of this first part to the finale of Bad Wolf. Is it one of your favourites? Do you think it's a really good setup for this second part? Do you feel this is the better or the worst part of the two? I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about it in the comments below. But apart from that, guys, as always, hit that like button, that subscribe if you're new here, and I will be back again, well, this other videos, but this time next week, to look at the final part of Series 1, The Parting of the Ways. Join me then for a brand new video. But until then, I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye!